I want to tell you the real human side of Ewing Kauffman. He would be very uncomfortable, and I would agree that he should be uncomfortable if we put him on a pedestal and make him into some Superman and some superhero. His philosophy was he was a common man, just like you and me, and that common men had in them the ability to do extraordinary things. He was not a college graduate, something that would indicate to many of you that he probably was not as intelligent as you were. You'd be mistaken. To understand Ewing Kauffman, you need to understand some formative experience from his childhood and how he decided to start a company called Marion Laboratories. When Mr. K, as we call him, Ewing Marion Kauffman, was 9 years old, he had a defect in his heart, a heart valve problem, and the only thing they knew how to do at that time was to try to keep him quiet and to see if he would grow out of this serious problem. So the prescription was you have to lay on your back as a 9-year-old for a year, in your bedroom, at home, for a year. His great fortune was that his mother was a school teacher who was schooled in the classics. His father was a traveling salesman. His mother said, "How am I going to keep a 9-year-old on his back for a year?" Answer, "I'm going to have him read." And she taught him the joy of reading. And he read the biographies of all the presidents, the biographies of all the great industrialists of the world, a lot of history, a lot of things about people. And so as a 9-year-old becoming a 10-year-old, he had an extraordinary education already about the great men of the world and how they had developed their greatness. Once he was able to, he began to travel with his dad. And they would play this game in the car. And the game would be taking the numbers from license plates of cars they were following and do mathematical games with it. With that, his father taught him a facility with math and numbers that stood him in good stead for the rest of his life. As he grew older, he could not participate a lot in sports, but he loved sports. And he watched sports with a great deal of interest. And that came into play later on when he owned the Kansas City Royals franchise from its very beginning. He went to the Navy in the war, and because of his skill with numbers, odds, and percentages, he became a very, very successful poker player in the Navy. In 1948, he came home with $50,000 in winnings from his days as a sailor in the Navy. $50,000 in 1948 was a lot of money. And it gave him the freedom to do a lot of different things, to try to figure out what he was going to be in the rest of his life.